Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the Golden Opportunities Coaching YouTube channel, and we are here. I want to thank all of you for. I don't know how it happened, but in YouTube there are a couple of videos that have really taken off, or audios that have really taken off, and I want to thank everybody who's doing their part to share those. We're on track to have our best subscriber month ever, and that really touches my heart. So continue doing what you're doing, folks. Appreciate you, Progress Tribe. Anyway, today we're going to talk about 8 key causes of depression. There are thought patterns that can cause depression, anxiety, and other things. If you like this content or it's helpful to you, please like, subscribe, comment below. If there's an audio you'd like to hear, please make that request, and we'll see what we can do about making that happen for you, usually within a couple of days. Anyway, I am hopeful that this is helpful to you, and we will go on to the content now. Depression is one of the biggest things in our society, and so in simplest form, depression is the realization that our expectations are not being met. Our standards for what happiness is and our experiences don't match. And so that leads to depression or a suppression of positive emotion. So what could cause this? Same thing goes with anxiety. Anxiety is the absence, at the core, it's the absence of the belief that control is possible or that we have control. So there's about 8 things I want to go through in this audio. Reasons that people may be experiencing anxiety and depression and things of a useful, beneficial manner that would explain some of those challenges. The first is awfulizing. So if you are struggling with something and you immediately jump to the worst case scenario, that is awfulizing. So an example of this would be if a date doesn't go well, and then you say, no one will ever love me. Or if you don't get a job and you say, I'm always going to be poor. Or if you have a disagreement with your kids and say, my kid is doomed to fail at life. So the awfulization concept is jumping to the worst possible conclusion and not seeing other possibilities, not seeing that maybe one conversation can change things. Maybe the best job for you is one you haven't applied for yet. Maybe the connection that will lead you to lasting love isn't ready for you or you're not ready for them. There are other possibilities that enter into existence, but when we awfulize, we look for the worst possibility, believe it's our fault that we're not there yet, and we make things as negative as possible. So the next thing that will cause depression is black and white thinking. So black and white thinking is what I call either or thinking, and it's either he behaves this way or he doesn't love me. Either I get this job or I'm doomed to be in mediocrity forever. Either I make up with my family and they accept me, or I'll never have a family relationship whatsoever. And that also requires us to change the definition of family to be a little wider, but you get the point. It's either this or that, and giving it independent meanings. So there's a million reasons why someone may disagree with you. There's a million reasons why someone may not find you attractive or why you didn't get a job. But if you look at things in a black and white context, you will depress yourself because obviously when you're not succeeding, you're going to look at the black or the negative. And if you're constantly looking at the black or the negative, there's a lot of challenges that come with that. Now, the next one is assumption. Assumption is a huge part of depression because we assume that we know what other people are thinking and feeling. Well, if they did this, then they feel this way, and I have no hope. If they did that, then they feel that way, and there's no point to continuing the conversation. We've gotten so lazy as a culture and civilization with communication that often it's easier to assume and jump to conclusions than it is to broach difficult subjects and topics. And you're never going to find, well, you're almost never going to find closure with something until you ask the question. And you're open to receive whatever the answer is. And so often when I do relationship coaching, oh, well, if he loved me, he should want. Okay, but he can still love you and not want what you want. Or, okay, if my family wanted what's best for me, they would. Well, okay, they can still want what's best for you and have a misguided view of what that might be, or have a different view of what that might be. So when we assume that the only way to success is agreement, it creates a lot of challenges and depression, anxiety, and other negative emotional states. The next one is if we downplay our own accomplishments. So humility is wonderful, but humbling yourself to the point of being insignificant, not so wonderful. Now, the best way to approach an accomplishment is to say, hey, I'm proud of myself. This is really cool. It's a really neat experience, and I'm glad that I had it. But there are people that are better than me at this, and there are people that are worse than me at this. And I'm neutral to the fact that I'm really proud of myself, and I hope you are too, but I still have things to learn. When we come to the place of neutrality with celebration, then we're living in a manner that is sustainable. Neutrality with celebration meaning the understanding that there are people that are better, there are people that are worse, but also we have value. And what we do and what we say and how we act and the difference we make has value too. When we don't see our own value or overplay our own value, when we overplay our own value, that's where ego comes from. When we underplay our own value, that's where false humility and depression can begin. Because it's like, if you never celebrate yourself, then the likelihood that you will feel good enough to move to the next level in your life, whatever that is, relationally, professionally, whatever, will be significantly less. The next thing to consider is hyperfocus. So when we focus on something so much that it's the only solution to our problem, I'll only be happy if I have children. I'll only be happy when I get married. I'll only be happy when I make $100,000 a year. I'll only be happy when or if. When we hyperfocus, we miss other opportunities to change our emotional state for the better. We miss other opportunities to learn and grow, and that will cause depression because if, in the event that we don't get what we want or what we think we want, or if we get what we want and it isn't what we thought, then we're going to be depressed, we're going to be frustrated, we're going to be heartbroken because we've built this thing up to be our everything, and when it's not that, there is a letdown. And even people who accomplish great things will often say, I was great until I won that championship in sports, or I was great until my second child was born, and then I was looking for more meaning in life. And so hyperfocus is dangerous because it comes down to ultimately setting yourself up for potential failure that can lead to negative results. Next thing is people who settle. Look, there's so many things. And if you're out there and you have to get by with a certain job for a while and you don't like the job, but you're doing it with a goal to get on to better in the next few months or next few years, great. If you're out there in a relationship and you're just there because, well, I don't want to be lonely, or I've put so much time into this, or any other, I have kids with this person, or I have a history, or their friends won't like me after I break up with them, or my family will call me an idiot or whatever. If you're settling for any reason, you will eventually find depression. Now, you can lie. Self-deception is such a major part of human nature that you can actually lie to yourself for months or years that you're happy, and then one day you just wake up and it's like, wait, I wasn't happy all along. And you look back, especially with revisionist history and the glasses of a different viewpoint, and you go, I was lying to myself the whole time. And so many people do this, and it's disheartening because we don't have to be that way. In a world full of 7 billion people, in a world full of literally millions upon millions of job opportunities or ways to create our own income, in a world full of experiences, we don't have to settle for anything. But so often we do for falsehoods of societal expectation and normalcy that we often defeat ourselves before we get out the box. So the last point I want to make with this particular audio is if you focus on the negative. So I'm not a person that believes in telling people, oh, just be positive, because sometimes that's not possible. Sometimes it's really hard, and you've been through trauma, you've been through a hard time, and it's really hard to find happiness, and it's really hard to find joy, and it's really hard to find emotions that are positive and progressive. But there is another alternative, and that is, what if you were neutral? What if you went back to, well, I really don't like this. This is not good. It's even horrible or uncomfortable, but I'm sure I could find ways for things to be worse. And then when you look at what you have through the eyes of gratitude, even in the middle of a difficult situation, while you still may not like the situation you're in, it's easier to have a new perspective and potentially become grateful or at least at peace quicker. And so when we focus on the negative, we get more negative. When we focus on neutral, we can often reset our emotional state. So sometimes that's the beginning of healing, is just focusing on, hey, it could be better, it could be worse. Let's see what I can do to make it a little better. Anyway, that is it for this audio. Again, like, subscribe, comment below if this has been helpful to you. And until next time, keep your feet on the ground, your mind in the moment. Until next time, everybody.